We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right. How are you doing, Jared?
Doing good. Kyle, it's time for the SlooPicks. Are you ready?
It is. Yes, I got some ground to make up, so let's
you do.
Let's do this.
How far behind are you now, Kyle?
3 games? 4?
Something like that.
Look.
I don't have that. I don't have that graphic open.
Oh, such a shame. Such a shame.
Notre Dame green uniforms are underrated. I totally agree. I think they should drop the navy and go with the green.
I'm 3 games.
3 games.
I'm 3 games, Jared. So I can make that up in 1 week, baby.
You sure can. Well, maybe. We'll see how our picks line up. Maybe you can't make that up in 1 week. Depends upon how many similar picks we have. We already know because of the Thursday episode that we at least have one difference already. Before we even get started, Kyle, we know because we made our picks on the Thursday episode of the show, which is called Know Your Enemy, that Kyle picked Indiana to cover, as did our guest picker, Zach, whereas I picked Ohio State to both win and cover.
All right. So we got 6 other games to talk about in this week here. No Big Ten teams to talk about this week here, Jared. What's that about?
I didn't notice that until you pointed it out.
I just got to give you shit. That's all.
No, I think that's an interesting question, actually. And I'm now thinking about things. Why is Ohio State, Indiana the only Big Ten game on our schedule? Well, there's really only 4 teams in the Big Ten.
Oregon's off.
Okay, so there you go. There's only 4 teams in the Big Ten that are really postseason relevant right now. 2 of them are playing each other.
And Penn State's is on the road. Hold on, let me just.
Oregon's off this week.
It's on the road. Yep, and Penn State's on the road to Jared's Golden Gophers.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. We probably could have picked that game. We didn't, but we probably could have.
It's fine. All right. Let's start off with the first game here. We have, where's it at? Here we go. Ole Miss heading on the road to take on the Florida Gators. Noon game, Gainesville. 9.5 point spread in favor of the Rebels. What do you got, Jared?
So both of these teams, I'll say this, both of these teams have been incredibly solid against the spread this year. Roughly even, but very, very good. Not perfect, but very, very good. However, in the last 7 games specifically, if we're looking for a trend, the last 7 games specifically, Florida didn't cover one of those games. And the only game they didn't cover was the game against Texas, in which Lagway did not play. We saw Lagway return last week, and it was a big day for Florida. So, while I don't think Florida is going to pull another upset, I do think he's going to make enough of a difference to aid Florida in. Florida is winning this football game, Jared. Listen, maybe, but for right now, I'm just sticking to Florida covering. I'm sticking to Florida covering. Listen, in the last 7 games, if Lagway plays, they cover. Period. Lagway's going to play, Florida's going to cover. What say you, Kyle?
I got to go with my instincts here. Like, I understand that, like, Florida has given some teams troubles in the past, beat LSU last week. Gave Georgia some troubles, gave Tennessee some troubles, but Ole Miss has been playing really well the past month here. So I'm just going to go with the hot team right now. So I'm going to pick. I'll pick the Rebels to win and cover.
Kyle going with Mississippi.
All right. Let's see what our guest picker Austin says.
Austin, no, Zach.
I'm sorry, not Austin. Zach. Sorry about that. Zach.
Zach. I did pre-populate the graphics, so I did take a look. Zach was very brief in his commentary. I will say that.
Yep. He just says for his prediction summary here, Ole Miss.
Yes. He picks Ole Miss. All right, Kyle. Listen, you're trying to get three games.
Man of few words. Man of few words.
You're trying to get 3 games on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I already picked them.
I know.
Picked them just so.
I trust you. I trust you. I decided to be brief. You did a good job.
Unlike you last week.
I literally pre-populate the graphic. I couldn't cheat if I wanted to. You could catch me cheating if I move the token mid-show. Kyle, you're trying to get 3 games on me. You're trying to get 3 games on me. 2 games picked. We already have 2 differences.
Ooh, how about that? All right. Next up here. That was the Ohio State Indiana was a noon game. Got a boatload of 3:30 games here. Colorado and Kansas is the next game here. Colorado ranked. Let me just confirm. I think they're ranked 16th. Yeah, they've moved up a few spots. 16th in the CFP rankings. 8-2 versus Kansas, who is 4-6. But Colorado going on the road to Kansas City as a 2.5-point favorite. Kansas has been sneaky good recently. Yes, I was about to get that. The last 3 games here, they had a 2-point loss to Kansas State.
They are not.
Beat Iowa
They've been
State.
playing it. Hold on. They've been playing at Arrowhead all year. This is a home game for them.
Yeah.
They're reconstructing their stadium.
They are. And then they just went on the road and beat BYU just last week. Could they beat Colorado? Sure. They're a hot team, but you know who else has been hot recently? Colorado. Colorado's been red hot as well too. So Travis Hunter is trying to make a name to win the Heisman here. I personally don't think he's the favorite, but definitely up there. But Colorado is a hot team as well. 2.5 points. That's pretty much a pick 'em. When in doubt, pick the quarterback. I got Colorado.
Give respect to Kansas, who have improved a lot this season since the beginning of the year. But I've been riding Colorado and their against the spread win streak for a few weeks now. I've said it the last couple weeks that we've included Colorado in the SlooPicks. Colorado failed to cover, I believe it was the first game of the year, and have covered every single game since. I've been riding that. I'm going to keep riding it. Buffs to win and cover. Why is it only 2.5? I think that's a fantastic question, honestly.
I just think it's based on Kansas's win last weekend. I truly believe that's what it is.
I mean,
what was that?
You could say the same thing about Florida in that regard.
Well, interesting. BYU was only a 2.5-point favorite over Kansas.
BYU is currently dogged against Arizona State, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Kansas about to get some chaos, says Zach. Is that a bit of a spoiler, Mr. Zach down in the chat, who's our guest picker this week?
He just simply puts down as his prediction summary here, Kansas.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I picked
the Buffs as well.
All right. So we are on the same page there, leaving Zach out on an island. Next up, Kyle.
Kentucky heading on over to Austin to take on the Longhorns. 3:30 game. Games must be slim pickings here. Texas is a 20.5 point favorite in this game.
I think there were five obvious SlooPick games. I'll let everyone decide for themselves what the other two I was forced to add were. Yes, this was one of them. Find a better game. It doesn't exist. It's like people saying Ohio State should have found a better tackle in the transfer portal. There was no better tackles in the transfer portal. I can't make them appear out of thin freaking air.
Your pick here, Jared.
My pick. Texas has only covered twice this year against SEC opponents.
Okay.
One of those teams was Oklahoma, who barely counts as an SEC opponent. The other one was the previously referenced game against Florida, in which Florida was forced to start their third string walk-on quarterback. So
don't do it, Jared.
What?
Nothing. Go.
Third string walk-on quarterback.
No. Just proceed.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right.
Kentucky has had overall a pretty disappointing season so far. But they covered all 3 games this year when dogged by double digits. Texas will win, but the Wildcats will cover. Man, how did Kentucky beat the SIP? Spikes, I swear to God, I'm going to time you out if you say the SIP one more time.
Yeah, I have the Wildcats covering as well too. There's just something off with Texas recently here.
Yeah. It's so bad it's good. Honestly, Spikes, that's a good take.
Yeah, there's just something off with Texas and Kentucky. They've been pretty close with quite a few games. A 10-point loss to Tennessee. The Auburn loss was bad too, but close loss to Georgia, close loss to Vanderbilt. Like they're in some of these games here, but so combination of like I truly think like Texas is going to win this game, but for 20.5, yeah, I'll take Kentucky to cover.
Zach down in the chat says UK ain't getting the chaos. Do I want it? Yes, but it isn't happening. No one's saying Texas is going to lose this game, to be super duper clear. I'm pretty sure I'm not speaking for Kyle, or I am speaking for Kyle on this. Like picking Kentucky to cover, not to win, to be super clear.
Yeah. And yes, Zach, you did pick Texas to cover. So Zach picked Texas to cover. There you go. There it is.
It's already there. I just had to unhide the layer. Photoshop people know. Damn, I'm second guessing myself. Listen, you can change it. You're in the live chat. The show hasn't. Listen, the picks are locked when I hit stop recording. But once I hit stop recording, your picks are locked. So, all right, Kyle, that's our third game. Do you want to move on to our fourth game?
Yes, but after this quick ad break here. So, the SloopCast.com is your go-to link for everything SloopCast related. If you want to help support Jared and I, we have a Patreon page, patreon.thesloopcast.com. Discord.thesloopcast.com is our Discord page here. If you want to talk anything Ohio State or non-Ohio State related, Discord is where we do all of our communication and chatting, because we're not really don't really do social media anymore, but discord.thesloopcast.com. Many other great sites on there over at thesloopcast.com. So go ahead and take our first ad break and be right back.
Zach did switch to Kentucky.
Just like you switched when you found out Cousin Jay's picks last week, right?
No.
Okay.
Again,
all right.
You could see me switch live on the show if I was going to switch.
But you knew what he was picking as you were setting these up.
Yes, but I also write, I don't know if you know this, although I'm pretty sure it sounds like I'm reading, but I also write a script for myself with my picks. I write the script.
That doesn't mean that you aren't looking at what is submitted.
I write the scripts before I look to see what the guest picker does.
Okay. Cousin Jay sets the spread. All right. Next game here, our fourth game here, Arizona State and BYU. I have to look real quick. Yep, this is a 3:30 game, so it's pretty much a noon kickoff, almost a noon kickoff in Tempe, locally. Arizona. The point spread is 3.5 in this game.
In favor of Arizona State.
Not to BYU, to Arizona State, the Sun Devils. I believe it is my pick here. Part of me wants to say, well, to me, Jared, sorry for the long pause, because I'm just was like really thinking here, because I was like, Arizona State's been playing. Yes, Arizona State's been playing pretty well recently here. BYU seems to kind of been just barely getting across. I know we talked about
they were literally my chaos pick last week because they've been barely getting across lately. And
I should have seen that. Lost to Kansas, 1-point victory over Utah, 7-point victory over UCF, 3-point victory over Oklahoma State. Yeah, and the Kansas was the tipping point there. While Arizona State, 10-point victory over Kansas State, 4-point UCF, a 21-point victory over Oklahoma State here. Screw it. I'm going to go. I'll go with the Sun Devils. I'll go with the Sun Devils to cover.
Kyle, sometimes I get the impression you're making your picks live.
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying it sounds that way.
That one, like I wrote down Arizona State, but as I'm looking at it, I'm kind of like, should I change it? Shouldn't I? But
okay, so that one was kind of decided live.
It kind of was. That one was, yes.
BYU
I did write down.
Okay. BYU started the season strong with a 6-game against the spread win streak. However, they only covered one of their last 4 games, speaking to what Kyle was saying earlier about them just getting by lately. Arizona State on the season is 8-2 against the spread, including a 3-game active win streak. Sometimes sports is about peaking at the right time. BYU's peaked and Arizona State's still on the come up. Devils to win and cover.
All right. And Zach, this week's guest picker, writes a nice paragraph that says Arizona State.
There you go. Yeah, they got the cats on the board in chaos theory, but the magic has run out. Yeah. I almost made it. Hey, Spikes, remind me to tell you the joke I just thought of reading your sentence, but I'm not going to say it on the podcast. That's a paywall joke. We call that a paywall joke. Next game, Kyle.
Similar to Ohio State and Indiana, we got a one-loss, highly ranked. Well, Indiana's highly ranked. I'll take that back. We have a one-loss team in Notre Dame going up against a surprising undefeated team in Army, the Army Black Knights. This is played in Yankee Stadium, by the way. This is not a home game.
I believe it's
not a home game for Notre Dame. It is in Yankee Stadium.
I believe it's technically an Army home game that they're just playing in Yankee Stadium. I could be mistaken. But yeah, it's neutral regardless.
Yeah, it is your pick this time, Jared. Notre Dame coming into this game, a 14.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Zach, there was the field where you were just putting the team's names was like an open text field. You could write whatever you want in there, but that's okay.
Okay, so you're all right. So you Zach, we're saying Army covers, Notre Dame wins. You do have underdog. Okay, all right. Yep, you were correct in the pick, but your prediction was okay. So you got Army to cover. You got Army to cover there. So okay. So that is Zach's pick here. So who do you got, Jared?
Against the spread, Army is 7-2 and Notre Dame is 7-3.
Wow, both really good. Wow.
Yeah. Notre Dame has been more successful as of late. They're on a 5-game win streak against the spread, whereas Army is 1-2 over the last 3 games against the spread. I love the story of Army. Just both, the Navy thing tapped out when they faced Notre Dame, but the Army story is still going strong. Army strong, as a matter of fact. But I think at a certain point you need to face reality, right? Their best win this year, and thank you, Spikes. Army's best win this year, arguably, maybe inarguably, is against Eastern Carolina. The Eastern Carolina Pirates. That's their best win this year. Eastern Carolina is 6-4 and 5th place in the American Conference currently. Notre Dame, on the other hand, has been playing like they have something to prove. Their worst result since the beginning of October was an 18-point win over Georgia Tech. Irish to win and cover.
Army started off, like Jared said, Army started off really strong here, playing lights out against teams that they historically could lose to, but this year definitely different. But yeah, last couple games here, 20-3 against Air Force, and then 14-3 against North Texas. Defense getting it done, offense not as much here. But And Notre Dame, like Jared said, playing just really well, playing with something to prove here. I think Army's magic is run out here. I love to see the upset. Love this story. Seeing Army being able to make a push, make the college football playoffs. Love to see that, but I think their Cinderella story ends here. I got Notre Dame to win and cover.
Zach asks us the question, what's the rule, fellas?
I know.
Rule number 4.
I know.
SlooPcast rule number 4. Never play this list of teams, which includes the military academies. You did pick Notre Dame to also cover, right?
I did. Yep. Yeah. And the last game we have here is Alabama on the road to Norman to take on the Sooners. 7:30 kickoff, and the Alabama Crimson Tide is a 14.5-point favorite. It is my pick in this game here. What's Oklahoma's best win here? Is it? Oh yeah, I think we had this discussion in Collegiate Chaos. Oklahoma's best win. Tulane. It's not their one conference win against Auburn. I think it's Tulane. Tulane here. So, and Alabama has been playing a lot better recently here. They played Mercer last week, but big win, convincing win on the road against LSU, shutout against Missouri there. Crimson Tide to cover.
Kyle taking the Tides. Don't know why I pluralized that. What does Zach say?
He has the spread. He has favorite the spread Alabama.
Yeah, he says down in the chat, Sooners bit off too much despite their face joining the SEC. All right. Both teams are roughly 500 against the spread this year. Although I have to say, it does feel, this is a vibe check. We're going off vibes here. I know I've been bringing a lot of numbers. I'm going vibe here. It does feel like Alabama has turned a corner since they had a rough 3-game spread, which began with a loss to Vandy, accumulated, and a loss to Tennessee, and they had a real close one against South Carolina in between. Bama will for sure win. I don't foresee an upset happening here. And I don't think it's going to be close. I'm expecting Alabama to win by 20 plus here. Like I don't even think we're going to be sweating. The spread's not near enough. I think this. Kyle asked me, I think 2 weeks ago, what do you think the Alabama-Oklahoma spread will be? And I think I said live on the podcast, like 22, 23, 24. I forget exactly what I said, but it was in the 20s. I stick by that. Mm-hmm. I think the spread should be at least 20 points.
It should be like the Texas and Kentucky game.
Kinda, yeah. I think so. So, yeah, give me... That's not what I wanted to do. Give me Alabama. Mm-hmm. Win and cover.
And Zach says favorite the spread here. So he's got Alabama as well.
Yep. All right, Kyle. That is the SlooPicks. We're going to take a quick ad break. Wait a minute. Before we do that, you and I differed on just two?
Just two. Yep. It was just two there.
the first, just the noon games. So we'll know between you and me specifically, we'll know at 3:30 where you and I stand in regards to the SlooPicks.
Yep.
We have Zach outlying on the Kansas game and the Army game.
Mm-hmm.
Bama wins big. Dabo's lover gets fired afterwards. Oh, because the defensive coordinator. I'm not sure why he's his lover, per you, Zach. But the tenure of I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the former Clemson defensive coordinator, current head coach at Oklahoma, is not going well. All right, so we're gonna take a quick ad break. Hi everyone, this is the page where we do ads. Kyle already said most of the things. Yes, Venables, thank you. Kyle already said most of the things earlier, so I just want to encourage everyone to check out thesloopcast.com where you can find links. You find all of our links. We mention all of these links. Sometimes we rattle them off real fast. You don't know where to find them. You're driving while you're listening to this. You're on your work computer and you don't want to jump on YouTube on your work computer. I get all that. So like if you're trying to find any of the links we're talking about, whether it be Patreon, Discord, YouTube, 2 separate merch stores, different podcast pages, all of that's too much to remember. Just go to thesloopcast.com and you will find links to all of our other links. No, you'll find a page that contains the links to our other pages. That would be the intelligent way of saying that. So let's jump back into the episode and we're going to do Chaos Theory. All right, Kyle, time for Chaos Theory. I took a bit of a lead here last week when I picked BYU to finally lose. What do you have lined up this week, Kyle? You have some ground to make up. I'm now in first.
I do.
The guest pickers are in a sad state, I have to say. Spikes who's currently in the chat. Spikes made more than half of their points on week 4.
Mm-hmm.
He's really doing all the heavy lifting for the guests right now.
So some games to pick here. Some only a couple points, some large ones. So you could pick San Jose State upsetting UNLV. It's just a couple of points there. Mm-hmm. Could Wake Forest, not out of the realm, but could Wake Forest upset Miami with Miami losing last week?
I wouldn't put much money on that.
2 weeks ago against Georgia Tech. Not going to worry about Massachusetts or UTEP trying to upset Georgia or Tennessee there.
No.
Kentucky, we talked about Kentucky and Texas. Probably not going to. Probably the most popular pick. Probably the most popular pick is probably Kansas upsetting Colorado.
Probably. I think that's. When I looked at it, I narrowed down my choices to 3 games. I'll say that, and that was one of the games. It's not the game I ended up picking, but that was one of the 3 games I narrowed down as I thought good picks.
Mm-hmm. And I think there are 3 other games here they could look into. Auburn upsetting Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 2.5 point favorite in that game. Which that line surprises me. You have in conference of 5-1 Texas A&M on the road versus a Auburn team who's 1-5 in conference, and Texas A&M is a 2.5 point favorite. Iowa State is only a 7.5 point favorite over Utah. Or a game I'm kind of close. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Jared here. What about Jared?
Mm-hmm.
Your Golden Gophers.
What about my Golden Gophers?
Playing home.
Mm-hmm.
A 12.5 point underdog. To Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
What about that one?
Hey, Kyle.
I'm kind of pleased.
How long is it going to take? Guys in the chat, how long is it going to take for Kyle to actually look at the screen?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Listen, they're my Golden Gophers, God damn it. Yes, I am picking for my Chaos Theory pick for the Minnesota Golden Gophers to topple Penn State. Do I think this is the most likely pick on the board? No, I do not. Is this the one that's worth a ton of points and I'm swinging for the fences because that's been my strategy all year? Yes, it is. I think there are two picks that are more likely than this pick, but this pick just comes with a lot more points than the other two. I think there are two picks that are good value, that are more likely, but the value on this one is just too high to pass on for what I think is a decent chance at an upset. You're just buying insurance in case Ohio State loses. No.
I think you did this.
But good thinking.
I think you did this once already. You picked a team to potentially to cover or to win in our SlooPicks, but pick them as a upset.
Right. It's a different
upset.
It's a whole different thought process.
I'm doing this. I'm going to pull that out of my hat this year, and I'm going to pick the Jayhawks. I'll pick the Jayhawks here.
Kyle is picking the Jayhawks, who are playing Colorado.
And let me scroll over. Oh, Zach and I on the same page here.
That was one of the other two. So I'll go ahead and reveal the third one. I think there are three good opportunities this week, especially with value considered. You see me pick Penn State to lose to Minnesota. It's worth 22 points. Penn State is a highly ranked team. They're number 4 in the country. That's worth 22 points. Too many points for me to pass on, which I feel like is a good opportunity. You and Zach pick Kansas to beat Colorado. I think this is the easiest points on the board. I think if you're going purely if you're going like, I don't know, there might be some stuff down in the 20s that get you 1 or 2 points that might be better. I didn't even look at those, to be honest. But if you're looking at like a top 20 team to lose this week and you're getting 10 points, which is a good chunk of points. I mean, if Kyle hits and I don't, he's in the lead. 10 points is a good chunk of points. From a pure value proposition, mine might be slightly better, but from a likeliness to hit, I think this is your best bet right here. I think Kansas, Colorado is your best bet as far as just likeliness of hitting. It was hard for me to pass up the additional 12 points.
Sure.
Now, there was a third game that I felt like was somewhere in between those two, where it was worth a little, and I mean a little more points than Kansas, Colorado, but still is more likely than Minnesota beating Penn State. Nope.
Florida?
Nope. Virginia over SMU.
I did briefly look at that too, yes. But I looked at the recent games here that they played. Not a best showing. Not the best showing from Virginia here.
I mean, sure, they're Virginia. It's an upset for a reason. Like, I get it. Listen, their game, yeah, they beat Pitt. The Clemson game was a lot closer than the final score shows. And everyone's getting dominated by Notre Dame as of late. And quite frankly, SMU hasn't looked all that good. They barely beat BC. They actually had a pretty good game against Pitt. They barely beat Duke. They had not a great showing against Louisville. I think SMU's been playing with some fire lately. I think this is a good pick. I think this was the Goldilocks pick. Worth more points than Colorado and is more likely than Penn State. This is the Goldilocks pick. That being said, I like my porridge red hot. So I'm going to row my boat. And I'm going to ride with the Gophers. I'm going to ride with the Gophers. All right. That is chaos theory.
You don't want to take the 1 point, getting 1 point for the Scarlet Knights upsetting the Fighting Illini?
No.
Okay.
What's even the spread on that game?
1.5.
Listen, as far as just pure likeliness to hit, that one actually may be slightly more likely than Colorado, Kansas. Now it's worth 1/10 of the points. Remember when I said there might be some likely ones in like the bottom 5 that I just didn't even bother to look at? Well, there you go. There it is. There it is. All right. I might bet on that game. Don't bet on that game. Never bet on a 1.5 spread. A whole $2. Well, okay then. If we're going to bet $2, go for it. All right. Kyle, I think that is the end of our show. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I don't want to talk about the rumors that's slowly becoming not rumors anymore.
Yeah.
We talked about basketball previously, so
Kyle is referencing the Seth McLaughlin injury, by the way. You have to make that a little bit more clear because this isn't going to come out till Friday, and people might think you're talking about a fresh rumor because maybe they don't know we record this on Tuesday.
Ohio high school football is doing their regional finals this weekend.
Excellent.
Looking forward to that. My alma mater is doing really well, playing in the regional finals here. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how the weekend's going to shape up here.
Yeah. Who's your team playing?
They're playing Delphus St. John. It is in Lima Memorial Stadium.
Man, Kyle had that ready. He had
to
go. He didn't just know who, but he knew where.
I did, yeah.
Kyle was on top of that.
Speaking of like Ohio high school, Ohio State wide receiver commit. I should know how to pronounce it, and I'm going to screw this up. So
Are you talking about the town?
No, Bodkin Miller.
Yeah, Bodpin.
Had a stellar game, comeback win. He ended up with 3 touchdowns in the air, almost 300 passing yards, and rushed it for over 200 yards and 2 more scores as well, and added on 6 tackles.
I thought you were going to talk about
the other side too.
New commit from Pataskala for the 2026 class.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Take that away then, Jared.
What? No, I'm not taking anything away. You're all good, man. You're all good. We don't talk about recruiting in season. It's easy to just like not do that stuff in your head. It's easy and it's fine. All right. Anything else, Kyle?
That's it. That is it.
Since we're doing a little bit of recruiting, I'll say that Ohio State might be getting another running back in their 2025 class. Recent visitor, recent decommit from Alabama. He may have been fong bombed. So, just might be getting another running back in that 2025 class. All right, Kyle, which is a good thing because Ohio State's about to have a mass exodus out of the running back room at the end of the season. So we need all the bodies we can get. So,
yep.
All right. Anything else? Time to end? Is it time to end?
I think we're good.
All right. Tonight's ending music will be Playing to Vapors. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are Playing to Vapors.